Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on the 2-hour time frame, because currently we are seeing a massive drop in the Bitcoin price after liquidating over $400 million worth of short positions. Of course, if you watched yesterday's video, you were prepared for this scenario because I specifically talked about this big pocket of liquidity and paying attention to a possible reversal from there after sweeping all of this liquidity here. So currently we're falling back inside this range. I am going to keep this range in here for now, although I do not think it is as relevant now that we have actually broken back inside after a breakout like this. For now, let's talk about the 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, because yesterday this was another thing that I specifically pointed out, saying that this descending line of resistance was going to be the most important thing to pay attention to over the next couple days. In the end, we got a rejection from this exact level of resistance. Is a good thing and a bad thing if you ask me. First of all, I do think it is a good thing because, well, we now have 3 proper touches with this trend line, really confirming that this is indeed a trend line that we should be paying attention to in the future as well. So the next time we come up to this trend line, potentially starting to see that breakout, we can really look for a proper breakout above, potentially even look out for that breakout retest resumption type structure that we see quite a lot on the channel here. For now, it's a little bit early to be talking about a breakout like that, but I do think it is likely that once we see a breakout above here, likely that is going to be the next move to the upside for Bitcoin after that, potentially even reaching new all-time highs. Although we should focus on the present day situation as well, because you can see a pretty severe candle to the downside on this 4-hour time frame right now. And this is simply because, well, if you get rid of this descending channel in the charts, then this basically just looks like slowly climbing up to this descending line of resistance and seeing a strong rejection from there. So this is a pretty bearish outlook here in the short term. One thing to note as well is that we are heading into a weekend for Bitcoin, so we could see the price stabilize a bit over the weekend. Of course, we do have a couple hours left on Friday here. One thing I would note is to be a little bit cautious if you're trying to long this move right now, because currently we are obviously seeing strong bearish momentum with, on the 4-hour time frame, this also being a pretty bearish outlook. And something that I prefer doing, and this is of course not financial advice, but something I prefer doing, is waiting for an actual low to come in where we have previously found a lot of support, and then potentially trying to long off of there, but wait for some actual levels of support to be reached, because until then the momentum is simply bearish. I do think it makes sense to zoom in a little bit to, for example, this 3-day time frame. Again, we just took out a bunch of liquidity to the upside, and we do have some short-term liquidity left around this 94.4K level. So potentially we could even go this low to continue sweeping liquidity to the downside. Although, of course, we have already swept a bunch of liquidity here. For example, on the 1-hour time frame, this is already in oversold territory here. And typically there is limited room to the downside when we are in oversold territory. So usually you would see the RSI kind of start to reset back up to around this 50 level here. Potentially we could see something like that over the weekend. Now, the way the RSI actually resets is either by the price basically chopping sideways, in which case the RSI will slowly reset up to around this 50 level, or if we get some bullish momentum in the short term, in which case the RSI will reset up more quickly. However, like I said earlier on in this video, we just broke this strong uptrend and are currently seeing some pretty severe bearish momentum. So personally, I prefer waiting for some kind of actual low to start to form around a big level of support, and then even start thinking about longing stuff again. But that is, of course, not financial advice. I'm simply telling you what I'm seeing in the charts, and you can do with that information what you like. Tomorrow is actually going to be an important video for Bitcoin as well, so make sure that you do not miss that one. And you can just subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you do not miss any of these important update videos. Lastly, let's take a quick look at the Bitcoin ETF flow tables. Yesterday, we actually saw a net outflow of close to $400 million from the Bitcoin ETFs. So again, this is having a downwards pressuring effect on the Bitcoin price. Over the last couple of weeks, we saw the Bitcoin ETFs kind of flip-flopping, where one day they would be bearish, the next day they would be bullish. However, more recently, the Bitcoin ETFs have been flipping a little bit more bearish than they were during the time before that. So again, simply said, for now, this is having a downwards pressuring effect on the Bitcoin price. Either way, this has been today's market update. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.